Welcome to Fantasia, home of the Melodious. My name's Azallea, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another update to my Melodious deck. Now, as you guys might have noticed, the lighting is a bit better. I'm trying out a different location for recording, so hopefully this all-natural, grass-fed, organic sunlight is going to make things easier to see. Anyway, without further ado, let's just jump right into this. First off, we were playing two copies of Arya, the Melodious Diva. Now, as we know, Arya, when she is special summoned and on the field, she protects all of our Melodious monsters from targeting effects and from being destroyed by battle. So I only play two copies because I don't play Ties of the Brethren in this deck, so it doesn't really matter if you do draw one, even two copies, because the focus of this deck is mostly to revive cards from the graveyard than it is to tutor cards out from the deck. Okay, so next off, in conjunction with the two Aries, play two copies of Canon, the Melodious Diva. Now, Canon, if you control Melodious monster, you can special summon her straight from your hand, although you can only use that effect once per turn, which kind of sucks, but she does help enable a lot of rank 4 plays, and she's also great for swarming the field to help us with our fusion plays. Speaking of which, we play three copies of Soprano, the Melodious Songstress, for our fusion summons. So Soprano, you can conduct a fusion summon by using her effect on the field, and by using other monsters that you control as fusion materials, you can fusion summon for your Melodious extra deck monsters. Now, one of the most important things about Soprano, and the reason why I run three copies of her, is that when she is special summoned, you can target one Melodious monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. Normally the target is going to be Canon, but if you don't have any Canons in your graveyard, you can always add back the Arya. So she is a great way to recur advantage, and that's probably the reason why I just run three of her and don't really need much else. So only 7 Melodious monsters in this deck. You don't really need a lot because Ben 10 can actually search any of them at any time, and you can always bring them back from the graveyard with Ritual Sanctuaries. So that's the reason why it's a very small Melodious engine, but it is very effective. Okay, so next off we run one copy of Honest, just as a nice little battle hand trap to destroy opponent's monsters. It's especially good because Sappho doesn't really have too high of an attack value, so 2500 can run over most things, but not all things. So Honest just helps get over some larger monsters. So next off, we play two copies of Summoner Monk. This is also a reason why I run a low Melodious monster count, because Summoner Monk can tutor out any of these cards straight from the deck, and helps us get rid of a lot of our dead spell cards that are going to be in our hand while fueling Ritual Sanctuary at the same time, because Ritual Sanctuary needs a lot of spell cards in the grave, basically, for it to be effective. So a lot of synergy with Summoner Monk in that regard. I run two copies here because I think I do run around 23 spells, so a lot of fodder for Summoner Monk. And you really do want to see him in your opening hand because he helps you set up most of your plays. Okay, so next up we run two copies of Maxi as the hand trap in the deck. Maxi is just really great draw power. While the deck does like going first, when you set up a Sappho and Sappho gets to draw you two cards during the end phase, and if you draw into a Maxi, it's just really, really nice because it's a nice way to deter your opponent from going off and nets you a few draws so that you don't fall behind if your opponent does decide to go off. So that does it for the effect monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the ritual monsters. We play three copies of Sappho, Queen of Dragons. Now, obviously, because this deck revolves around Sappho and ritual summoning her out, it is reasonable to play three. You can get away with two, but in my testing, because if I was playing two and I drew into the pre-preparation of rites while I opened with two of these, it was just horrible and I hated it, so because I didn't have any other search targets for pre-preparation of rites. So just having the third copy is kind of insurance just in case. Similar to why I ran 3 Arya when I'm playing Ties of the Brethren. You just don't want to open 2 copies and not have any other targets in your deck left to search. Okay, and Sappho, oh, I forgot to mention that Sappho has 3 effects. So when she is ritual summoned, or during the turn that you send a light monster from your hand or your deck to the graveyard, you can activate one of 3 effects. You can draw 2 cards and discard 1 card, or you can discard 1 card from your opponent's hand, or you can add 1 light monster from your graveyard to your hand. So 3 amazing effects, although which one you use is really situational and based on how many cards you have, how many cards your opponent has, and whether or not you really do want to grab back that Honest from your graveyard, because Saffron Honest has a very powerful loop that you can do. Okay, so next off, for the last monster in the deck, probably the most important one, the one that makes the deck go round, is 3 copies of Cyber Angel Ben 10. Now, Ben 10, absolutely amazing, because when you tribute her, you get to add 1 light fairy type monster from your deck to your hand. No restrictions, no level restrictions, nothing like that. So you can add, Soprano, Cannons, you can add your Honest. You can even add another copy of Benton if you really wanted to. It's really up to you. So just amazing card overall, and these are all the monsters that we play for this build. So next off, gonna go into the spell cards. So for the spell cards, starting off with 3 copies of First Movement Solo. First Movement Solo allows you to special summon a level 4 or lower Melodious monster straight from your deck if you control no monsters on your side of the field. Now this allows you to set up an Aria play if you don't have enough resources for a Saffron summon, or it can get you a Soprano from the deck if you want to set up a Shiberta first turn. So very versatile card overall, and definitely recommend running 3, because you can always pitch the extra copies with Ritual Sanctuary or Summoner Monk to get them out of your hand. Okay, so next off we play 3 copies of Pre-Preparation of Rites, one of the best search cards in the game. You can add 1 ritual monster and 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand if their names are on each respective card text. And basically in this deck it searches out Saffra and the Hymn of Light, which is the ritual card to summon Saffra with. So Pre-Preparation of Rites is basically a free +1. You can also add your ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand, and not a lot of people know about that or utilize it, but it really does come in handy if you do run out of search targets from your deck. You can always recycle them from your graveyard as well. Unfortunately, you can't do that for ritual spells, but for that we do have the original Preparation of Rites. Unfortunately, or fortunately, limited. Thank you, Necroz. So Preparation of Rites allows you to add 1 level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can add 1 ritual spell card from your graveyard to your hand. So this can also potentially be a +1. You can add the Hymn of Light from your graveyard to your hand after you add a Benton or a Saffra from your deck to your hand. So this is just really, really nice in terms of recycling our ritual spells. Especially because the ritual spell is probably the hardest card to get your hands on if you don't have the correct pieces to search with, because we don't play Manjus and stuff like that. Okay, so next off we play 3 copies of Ritual Sanctuary. Speaking of the lack of Manjus, Ritual Sanctuary is basically Manju in spell form, because you can discard 1 spell card to add 1 light ritual monster or 1 ritual spell card from your deck to your hand. So this allows you to search Saffra, Ben 10, or Hymn of Light. And the second effect on Ritual Sanctuary, which is absolutely amazing, and I love this so much, it's basically a monster reborn. So you can shuffle any number of spell cards from your graveyard into the deck, and then target 1 light fairy type monster in your graveyard whose level equals the number of cards you shuffled into the deck, and special summon it. So this not only allows you to recycle very key cards like Soul Charge, Instant Fusion, Raigeki, but it also lets you just monster reborn a Soprano, add back Cannon, go for rank 4 plays, go for fusion plays, just extremely powerful overall. And of course, with an amazing field spell, you do have to play 3 copies of Terraforming, especially Ritual Sanctuary, because you can just recycle the Terraformings and any extra copies of Ritual Sanctuary back into your deck. So this just allows you to easily fill up your grave with spell cards for the revival effect. Okay, so next off we play 3 copies of the Hymn of Light. Now, Hymn of Light is the card that you use to ritual summon Saffra. It also has a graveyard effect. So if a ritual monsters on your side of the field would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you could banish this card instead. So basically it gives Saffra some built-in protection so she stays on the field a bit longer, which is very nice. Okay, so next off we play 2 copies of Instant Fusion, just because you want to see it. This is more of a combo-based deck, so having access to Norden to extend your plays, make Fairy Cheer Girls, make Abyss Dwellers on your first turn, is just really nice for getting extra cards or helping to lock out your opponent when they go. Next off we run 2 copies of Twin Twisters, just to destroy any annoying back row if we do decide to go second. It's also very good against Pendulum decks, pop their scale so they can't go off. We Now for the one-ofs, we play one copy of Soul Charge, just to bring back any field wipes, bring back anything that we need to if they clear the field. If you ritual summon the Sappho and it does get destroyed, you can Soul Charge it back, which is pretty nice as well. Oh, here's the spicy tech card in the deck that I really do love, Metaphos Fusion. Now, Metaphos Fusion, you can't really use it to fusion summon because I don't play any Metaphos monsters, obviously, but the effect in the graveyard is that if this card's in your graveyard, you can shuffle it into the deck, then draw one card. So this is essentially great discard fodder. You can discard it with Sappho's discard effect. You can discard it with Summoner Monk, Ritual Sanctuary. It's just so versatile and so easy to get to the grave that you can always get a free draw out of it to either break even or go a +1 with this card. So it's just amazing. Okay, next off, we play, for the last spell, Upstart Goblin. Very easy way to fill up your grave with spell cards and just an easy target to shuffle back into your deck that will essentially never be dead. So that's a lot of spell cards right here, 23 spell cards. Next off, let's go into the traps, which, well, we only play one of. So we play one copy of Vandy's Emptiness just because it's so powerful that it can potentially just win you games by shutting your opponent down. Kind of an unfair card, but it's nice to have some sort of disruption in terms of back row when you're playing a deck like this. So that does it for the main deck. Next off, we're going to go into the side deck. So starting off the side deck, we play two copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, Ghost Ogre is very important in this deck because she is a light attribute, which means that Sappho can add her back from the graveyard to your hand if you do use her that turn. So Ghost Ogre is very valuable and very versatile because she can pop things that activate on the field. So Metaphos, Scales, you can pop Union Hangers, Azure Eyes, anything that's very difficult to get over or disrupt your opponent's combo pieces. Very good card overall. Next off, we play one copy of Barrier Statue of the Heavens because it is a light fairy type monster, which means you can search it with Ben 10 and you can just normal summon it and just lock your opponent out of the duel if they're playing anything that's not a light based archetype. Okay, so next off, we were playing one copy of Artifact Lancia. Now, Artifact Lancia is also a light fairy type monster, which means you can search it with Ben 10 and hold it in your hand for your opponent's turn. And on your opponent's turn, you can tribute this card, and if you do, neither player can banish cards for the rest of the turn. So this is really great for preventing your opponent from summoning ABC, Dragon Busters, prevents people from banishing your cards as well. It's just very versatile overall. And you can always add it back from your graveyard to your hand with Sappho. So it's just really good for just locking your opponent out, saying no, no, no to ABC Dragon Buster. Speaking of ABC Dragon Busters and also of cards that lock people out, if your opponent is playing something like Heroes with Tree Toads and all those other annoying cards, you can always side in 3 copies of Lava Golem. Gets rid of both Dark Claws and Tree Toads, gets rid of both Tsukuyomi and ABC Dragon Buster. So this is really good for going second, because if you open with this, you can basically clear your opponent's field. And if you have an Arya on the field, they can't get over it. They'll just be taking 1,000 damage per standby phase with this Lava Golem. So very powerful card. And although you do lose your normal summon, it doesn't really matter in this deck as much because we have so much access to ways of special summoning. We can summon Sapphires, we can first movement solos. We just have ways to play around that kind of downside. Okay, so next off, we're going to go into the spells. We play one copy of Raigeki just for the field clears. I don't main deck this because I didn't want to take up too much space, and Raigeki is also not too great against a lot of decks in the format right now, so I thought it was better in the side than in the main. Although you can recycle this with Ritual Sanctuary and get multiple uses out of it if you get lucky and draw into it again, so there is that. Speaking of field clears, we do play 2 copies of System Down. This is mostly against ABCs because you pay 1,000 life points and then you banish all machine type monsters on your opponent's side of the field and in their graveyard. So it stops them from even tagging out. If they tag out, it doesn't matter because all their ABC pieces and their Dragon Buster are still going to end up getting banished. Okay, so next off, for against metal foes, we actually will side in 3 copies of Magical Spring. Now, Magical Spring, I love this card so much. The effect says, draw a number of cards equal to the number of face-up spell and trap cards that your opponent controls. Then discard a number of cards equal to the number of face-up spell and trap cards that you control. And then until the end of your opponent's next turn after this card resolves, spell and trap cards your opponent controls cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. Also, their activation and effects cannot be negated. So the reason why you'd play this is because if they activate something in their Metaphor's Pendulum Scale, such as Cleaforce Scouts, which prevent them from special summoning, by the way, if they activate that and they activate another Metaphor skill to try to pop it, you can stop them from popping it, so it just locks it off for a complete turn. If they set up 2 scales with the same pendulum scale numbers, you can just lock them out of pendulum summoning for the turn. If they have combinations and stuff face up as well, you can flip this, chain it. You can potentially draw like 3 or 4 cards and only have to discard 1, because this counts as a face up card when it resolves. So it's just really great for shutting down your opponent, getting free draws, and filling up your grave with some extra spell cards. So that's why I really do love that. And to top off the side deck, we run 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill. Just extra effect negation that you can get multiple uses out of. And if you do end up drawing it with Sapphire or something, you can always pitch it to the graveyard. So that's why I prefer to run this over something like Effect Veiler. So that does it for the side deck. Next off, we're going to go into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we are running 1 copy of Gaga Cowboy, Return of Cowboy. The 800 burn damage actually helps a lot because you end up in a lot of situations where opponents have really low life points and you just have extra level 4s. So I found that Cowboy actually helps us steal a lot of games in this build. We run 1 copy of Abyss Dweller because it's one of the best cards to go for blind on first turns, because so many decks right now are graveyard reliant. We run 1 copy of Daigusto Emerald to recycle our ritual monsters, our extra deck monsters, go for some free draws, just keep our combos and search cards alive. Okay, next off we run 1 copy of Bujinte Tsukiyomi. Just in case you do end up kind of bricking, you can always Tsukiyomi to pitch whatever's remaining in your hand to go for 2 free draws, hopefully into things like pre-preparation of rites and stuff, so you can set up for a quick ritual summon. So next off we roll 1 copy of Fairy Cheergirl. This is really great because you can make it with Norden. So if you Norden back one of our Melodious monsters, or even an Honest, you can go for Fairy Cheergirl, get some extra draws. Sometimes the draw comes in clutch and you can draw into something that is really necessary, like you can draw into Ritual Sanctuaries, Terraforming, stuff like that, that just really help extend your plays. Next off, we run 1 copy of Diamond Direwolf because of things like anti-spell fragrance and stuff are still very rampant, and this deck is heavily spell-based. If you have a Melodious monster and you have a cannon in hand, you can easily make a Diamond Direwolf, pop it, and then go off from there. This is also great for just baiting out Solemn Warning, Solemn Strikes before you go for your more important monsters. Okay, next off we have 1 copy of Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer, to spin any cards that are face up that are just problematic. And then we play the Utopia package. We play 1 copy of Utopia, play 1 copy of S39 Utopia Prime. Very clutch card if you do end up using its effect. You can banish all your opponent's monsters, inflict damage to your opponent at the mere cost of bringing your own life points down to 10. But this can steal games sometimes if you're at a deficit. But I mostly just run it so I can get an extra use out of our Utopia the Lightning. So you can detach 2 materials, still have 2 materials left, so you can go for another Lightning Strike next turn. And to top off our XYZs, we play 1 copy of number 39 Utopia Beyond. Now, I don't have a copy of Beatrice, but if I did, I would definitely play Beatrice in this place. This is kind of a placeholder, but it's also not a bad rank 6 monster to have. But I would definitely use Beatrice over this, because if Beatrice sends a monster from your, like a light monster from your deck to the graveyard, let's say you send a Ghost Ogre or something, you can trigger Sapphire during the end phase to actually add that Ghost Ogre back to your hand. So it's just a really easy way of searching out things like hand traps. So you can also just trigger Sapphire's effect to draw to discard 1 or discard a card for your opponent's hand. Very versatile overall. So that does it for the XYZ monsters. Next off, we're going to go into the fusions. So starting off the fusions, we were playing one copy of Elder Entity Norden. Now unfortunately, Norden is not a light monster, so you can't bring it back with Ritual Sanctuary, but you can always soul charge it back and you can always recycle it with Daigusto Emerald, so even if we run 2 copies of Instant Fusion, you can always get multiple uses out of it. Next off for our fusion cards, we play 2 copies of Schuberta, the Melodious Maestra. Now Schuberta, I run 2 copies because you can always recycle her with Soprano or with Daigusto Emerald, so you don't really need 3 in this build, but she is a level 6 monster to help you go for that 1 rank 6, the Beatrice, after you use her effect. Her effect is that during either player's turn, you can target up to 3 cards in either player's graveyard and banish them, and if you do, she gains 200 attack for each card. So she can become a 3000 attack beat stick, but she's also just great for graveyard disruption, and I love setting her up first turn because most of the time your opponent has to play around her or try to bait her effect in order to go off. Okay, so last card to wrap things up, we play Bloom Diva, the Melodious Choir. Now Bloom Diva, it's an amazing card, cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and she basically rams into special summon monsters and inflicts massive amounts of damage to your opponent. Let's say they're playing Blue Eyes, anything with big beat sticks. If you summon a Bloom Diva, you're basically ensuring yourself a game. So that does it for the extra deck, and that does it for the deck profile. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you like what you saw or found it helpful, please leave a like, subscribe for more Melodious content, and leave a comment down below letting me know what I can do to improve. And until next time, take care.